I've been thinking about what really stops people from buying an electric car. We talk about the price or, the look of the car.
Hmm.
But I think for a lot of people, it really just boils down to this very specific fear. It's late, you're on the highway, and that little battery icon turns red.
It's range anxiety. It's absolutely a primal fear for the modern age. I mean, it's a psychological barrier just as much as it is a technological one.
Exactly. It's this tether. You feel tied to these specific dots on a map, the chargers, and if one is broken or they're all full, you're just stuck.
Right.
But today, we're doing a deep dive into a source that suggests maybe we're looking at the whole problem wrong. We're thinking the car has to go to the energy.
But what if the energy comes to the car?
That's the question.
That is the fundamental shift we're exploring today. And our source isn't some, big government report or a press release from a giant car company.
Right.
We are looking at a single business entity, a website, and a name that is so literal. It almost sounds like something from a different era.
Okay, so the source for today is Sacramento Modal EV Charging Solutions.
And the website, of course, is sacramentomobilevecharging.com.
It's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful.
Yeah.
But our mission for this deep dive is to unpack what that name signals. Because buried in those 5 words is, I think, a blueprint for what some people are calling energy as a service.
I have to say, my first reaction when I saw this source was, really, it sounds very Yellow Pages, like Bob's Local Plumbing. It doesn't scream high-tech future.
And that's exactly why it's so interesting. We're moving out of what you might call the hype cycle for EVs. When a technology is brand new, you give it a slick name like Volta or Electron.
Sure.
But when technology becomes a utility, a tool, you just describe what it does. This name tells us EV charging is moving from being a lifestyle brand to just being a logistical necessity.
Okay, I like that. So let's break this down. The name has, 4 key parts, and each one feels like a pillar of the whole model. Let's start with the word that changes everything, mobile.
Mobile is the key word. That's the paradigm shift. For 100 years, the energy model for cars has been completely static. The fuel is in a tank under the ground.
At the gas station.
The electricity is in a concrete pillar in a Walmart parking lot. The asset is fixed. You, the driver, have to go to it. You have to deviate from your path.
Which is just inefficient, right? I mean, even with an EV, I have to find a charger, plug in, and then just wait for a half hour, maybe an hour.
Correct. That's what we call destination charging. What this source proposes is service charging. The charger itself becomes the variable. It moves.
Okay, but let's get technical for a minute. When we say mobile EV charging, what are we actually talking about? Is it some guy with a diesel generator on a truck? Because that seems a little counterproductive.
That's a really common misconception, and it's where the mobile part gets smart. I mean, sure, early on, some emergency services were generators, but a modern mobile solution is usually a big battery. Imagine a van just filled with high-density industrial batteries,
And there's a big battery on wheels.
charging a smaller battery on wheels. That's precisely. And that distinction really matters for the grid. A generator has emissions. A mobile battery unit, on the other hand, can charge itself up during off-peak hours. Say at 3 a.m. when electricity is super cheap and the grid is just sitting there.
Ah, I see.
And then it deploys that stored energy during the day when demand is high. So it's not just moving energy in space, it's shifting it in time.
Okay, that makes sense. So they fill up the mothership at night, and then the mothership zips around feeding all the little ships during the day. But let me play devil's advocate. Is that really efficient? Dragging a super heavy battery around a city?
It's a great question. If you're only rescuing one stranded motorist, then no, probably not. But that gets us to the idea of asset utilization. Think about a fixed charger in a parking lot. How many hours a day is it actually in use?
Oh, not many. Maybe 4 or 5 hours, tops. The rest of the time, it's just a chunk of metal sitting in the rain.
Exactly. It has very low utilization. A mobile unit, though, can be routed by software to exactly where the demand is at any given moment. It could operate at 80, maybe 90% utilization.
So it goes to an office park in the morning.
A fleet depot in the afternoon, a residential building at night. The mobile aspect lets that one expensive asset work much, much harder.
It's basically the Uber model for the grid. The car goes where the passenger is, the charger goes where the thirsty battery is.
You got it. It makes the whole infrastructure fluid instead of concrete.
Which brings us to the next word, the geography. The source isn't global mobile charging, it's Sacramento. Why that specific focus? What's so special about Sacramento?
Well, Sacramento is a fascinating case study. First, it's the capital of California, so it's at the absolute center of the EV transition from a regulatory standpoint. But physically, it has real constraints.
Like what?
It's got a dense, historic downtown. You can't just go digging up sidewalks everywhere to install new chargers. And then it has this massive suburban sprawl around it.
Plus, it gets hot, like really,
Yeah.
really hot.
That is a critical point. Grid strain. In the Central Valley, when it hits 105 degrees, everybody turns on their air conditioning at the same time.
I remember the flex alerts. Don't use your appliances. Don't charge your car between 4 and 9 p.m.
Exactly. The grid is pushed to its absolute limit. So if you then have thousands of people all coming home at 5 p.m. and plugging in their EVs, you risk blackouts.
Right.
A service like Sacramento Mobile EV Charging Solutions kind of sidesteps that bottleneck.
Yep.
The mobile unit charged up the night before. It's independent of the grid at that peak moment. It can deliver power without adding any more load. It's a buffer.
It's like bringing your own cooler of ice to a party instead of trying to cram your drinks into a fridge that's already full and struggling.
That is a perfect analogy. And by branding themselves with Sacramento, they're signaling that they get these local dynamics. They're not some generic tech company from out of state. They're a local service that understands the heat, the traffic, the grid.
It has to build trust too, right? If I'm stranded, seeing Sacramento on the side of the truck makes me feel like help is actually from around here, not from a call center 3 states away.
Proximity is speed. You can't serve a local market well if you're not actually in it.
Okay, so I want to get to the word that I think does the most work here. We've got the where, which is Sacramento, and the how, which is mobile. But the what is interesting. It's not chargers. It's charging solutions. Plural.
Yes. And this, I think, is the pivot from just being a consumer convenience to being a real business strategy. If you're selling charging, you're selling a commodity, electrons.
Right.
But if you're selling solutions, you're solving a bigger, more complex problem.
Okay, so unpack that for me. What kind of problem needs a solution instead of just a plug?
Fleets. Think about the biggest hurdle for commercial EV adoption. Fleets. Let's say you own a delivery service in Sacramento. You buy 20 electric vans. Great for the environment, but where do you charge them all?
At your warehouse, I guess.
You'd think so. But do you have 20 fast chargers at your warehouse? More importantly, do you have the electrical capacity from the street to run them all at once? Upgrading that kind of commercial service could cost you $100,000 and take years in city permits.
Oh, wow. I never thought of that. So you have the vans, but you can't actually power them.
Exactly. That's the gap. The solution this company provides is you don't build the infrastructure, you hire them. They bring a truck to your depot every single night, say between 2 and 5 a.m., and they just go down the line and top off every single van.
That's brilliant. That turns a huge one-time capital expense into a predictable monthly operating expense.
Precisely. It de-risks the entire EV transition for that business owner. That's a fleet solution.
And what about for, regular people? Does the solutions idea apply to me if I live in an apartment?
That's the other huge gap, multi-unit dwellings. If you live in an apartment in Midtown Sacramento, your landlord probably isn't going to spend a fortune trenching the parking lot to install chargers for a few tenants.
Right, so I'm stuck. I can't get an EV if I can't charge at home.
Unless there's a solution. You subscribe to the service. Once a week, while you're at work or asleep, the mobile unit comes to your building and just fills you up. No dedicated spot needed, no permit, just the service.
It really reframes the whole conversation. It's not about we need to build more stuff. It's about we need to manage our logistics better.
It connects the dots. The solutions part implies they're looking for the friction in the system. Is the friction a broken public charger? They can be the backup. Is it a lack of chargers at an event, like a concert?
They just roll in and set up a pop-up charging hub.
There you go. They are the WD-40 for the EV ecosystem. Whatever the rigid system grinds, they smooth it out.
Let's go back to the URL for a second. SacramentoMobileEVCharging.com. We kind of laughed at how long it is, but when you look at it through the solutions lens, it feels almost aggressive in how simple it is.
It's purely functional. We live in this era of dark patterns on websites, apps that try to trick you, subscriptions you can't cancel. This URL is the complete opposite of that. It's totally transparent.
It's a billboard. You type what you need into Google, and the website itself is the answer.
It's also just a brilliant SEO strategy, search engine optimization. If you're a fleet manager in Sacramento and you suddenly realize you have a charging problem, what are you going to type into a search bar?
Sacramento Mobile EV Charging.
And boom, There they are. It's what's called a descriptive domain. It signals they're trying to be found, not trying to be clever. And for anyone who just wants to solve a problem efficiently, that lack of friction is incredibly appealing.
It's the digital version of the truck itself. Just show up and do the job.
Exactly. A utilitarian interface for a utilitarian service.
So let's zoom out. We've got the local focus, the mobile tech, the solutions for fleets and apartments. What does the existence of a company like this tell us about the big picture of energy? Is this the death of the gas station?
I'd say we're seeing the unbundling of the gas station. A gas station had a monopoly on energy distribution because gasoline is a hazardous liquid. You need giant, extensive, regulated underground tanks. You had to go there.
I can't keep a barrel of gasoline in my garage.
But electricity is everywhere. It's in every wall, every light pole. So that monopoly is gone. And this company proves that energy distribution is becoming decentralized.
But is this a permanent model? Or is it just a temporary bridge until we have chargers on every street corner? I mean, in 20 years, will a company like this even exist?
That is the million-dollar question. Some people argue that once every parking spot have a plug, mobile charging will become obsolete. But I might argue the opposite.
Oh.
Think about the cost of maintaining millions of fixed public chargers. They break, they get vandalized, their software gets outdated. It's a massive ongoing expense.
So you think the mobile model might actually be more sustainable in the long run?
Well, think about a fully autonomous future. Imagine your car drops you off at work. Then it just drives itself to a staging area where a mobile unit tops it off. Or maybe the mobile unit comes right to the parking lot and crawls from car to car like a little robotic bee.
I love that image. A robotic charging bee.
It completely removes the human from the fueling process. And if that's the future, then Sacramento Mobile EV Charging Solutions isn't a bridge. It's a prototype for the end game.
It's funny, when we started this, I was thinking of this as a convenience, for people who just don't want to stop at a charger. But it's really about grid resilience and business logic.
It's about decoupling energy from real estate. That's the core insight. You no longer need to own the land to sell the power.
And for you listening, whether you drive an EV or not, that's a concept worth paying attention to. Energy as a service.
It could change how our cities are built. If you don't need gas stations on every valuable corner, that land could become housing or parks or cafes.
A city designed around people, not refueling stops. I like the sound of that.
It's a hopeful vision.
So if you're in the Sacramento area, or you're just curious about this model, it might be worth checking out the source, sacramentomobileevecharging.com. It's long, it's literal, but as we found out, it might just be the future.
Indeed.
Thanks for diving in with us. It's amazing how much you can unpack from just a name. Until next time.